In 8th century Baghdad, a stranger pleads with the vizier to safeguard the bejeweled tablet he carries, but he is murdered before he can explain. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Hemvar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Howard Andrew Jones's The Desert of Souls. The Desert of Souls is a 2011 novel by Howard Andrew Jones. It is first in the adventures of Dabir and Asim, or The Chronicles of Sword and Sand. I have read a short story of the two in A Book of Blades, and they are a duo worth your time. They're also, if it wasn't immediately obvious, a historical fantasy duo. It's sword and sorcery. In this historical fantasy, kind of feels very sword and sandal in variety, similar to Prince of Persia. I mean, if I were to make a comparison, a lot of people might recognize. Of course, this is Howard Andrew Jones. This is, I think, the 6th novel I read by him, maybe the 5th, but I've read a decent amount by him, and he is one of the best sword and sorcery heroic fantasy authors today writing, so you should read him. If that wasn't the case already, you haven't read him, and maybe start with this one if this sounds like your thing. So this one actually starts with a parrot that is dead. It's told in the first person, the narrator being a servant of Jafar in 8th century Baghdad. This is the golden age of Islam, of course. The narrator is Asim. Asim is the captain of the house guard. Dabir is a tutor, a scholar teaching Jafar's niece, Sabira, who is 18 in age. Together they are a swashbuckler and a cult investigator, essentially. Sabira herself is a great addition. She's rather fiery at times, and then gossip in the household follows. She is interested in either one or both of the duo, and romantically, that is. And she was to be married 2 years earlier, but her fiancé was slain in battle with the Greeks. This story has a proper fortune-telling, and it has mystery, and it has murder, and nice swashbuckling action, right? Our heroes are somewhat the bros of Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser, but a bit more respectable, and more brain and brawn rather than just brawn, and buffoonery. While they're mightily capable, you also worry for them more than you ever would for the twain as well. Jones also has a style that's easier to read than Leiber's. As much as I love Leiber, really like him, Jones is more accessible in some ways, though his stories are longer, I guess. But not long. This book's like 300 pages. The story itself starts off mundane and quickly gets hints of weird magic, but done in a subtle way. Then it gets weirder, and eldritch and creepy creatures come in, as well as the lost city of Ubar, and a more cosmic element as well. We are reminded that though we consider the setting, kind of ancient, there were things to these people that were ancient to them, right? Like the Mycenaeans, right? For example, the Minoans or whatever. We have the jinn as well, sorcery which flies against the prophet and Allah, and also undead monkeys, augury, and ancient spirits. It's nice reading Arabian fantasy or any fiction. It's surprisingly rare, I feel like, from my experience. Jones really brings the city to life with art and architecture, religion, and then the rogues and money, of course. And there is politics when the caliphate is dealing with the Greeks as well, kind of on the periphery of the story. It's interesting getting glimpses of Asim telling the story. Part of the first-person narrative is legitimately a story recounted to other characters, right? We are part of his otherwise fictional audience, so. And this is so for a small chunk of the story, as the part 1 is an opening act for the rest of the story. I think it fits together nicely and shows Jones' skill, even in his earlier writing. Although throughout the novel we get to see the fire of Asim and his sense of duty, and the astute calmness of Dabir, often the emotions simmering lower in the scholar, who is more meticulous and objective minded compared to the intuition of Asim. Both are bound by duty, though, and are good guys compared to many sword and sorcery protagonists. They're somewhat reminded me of Hanavar, of Jones' later and current series, The Chronicles of Hanavar, right? Asim being the narrator is also a nice change of pace since he is a warrior. Many days, this is what happened as I see it, are from scholars or bards, or maybe fun charlatans. It does become obvious there's a little bit of unreliability at times, and that is not too uncommon. It's not much, though. I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. Also, the way fantastic happenings are passed off as delusions or induced by drugs is frustratingly accurate, just as someone might say you're delusional if you saw a ghost in real life. I appreciate the setting as well for historical fantasy. Someone like Kay would unnecessarily make this a secondary world and take longer in the telling. Jones knows how to tell a story without wasting time, and what I expect from someone who is known for writing sword and sorcery, of course. And that being said, epic fantasy readers who don't have the complex, of needing to read books, should that are overly long or part of a big series should enjoy this perfectly fine. It works as a standalone too, but with room for more. And there is at least another novel and some things like short stories, right, available digitally and in other places. And I know Jones would like to potentially write several more of these, and I assume more sales would help that. So, go and buy the book, I guess. Overall, though, this is a novel of mystery and adventure, and it's an awesome time, and you should check it out. I am very much looking forward to Bones of the Old Ones, which is book 2, and I have it ready to go.